What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is the 5 greatest American accents. Interesting. I mean, for a long time, before we started doing these reaction videos and learning, American accents to us was just one accent.
Yeah.
So you know what? Let's take that back. It was probably 2 accents. American and Southern.
Yeah, but I think that's okay to generalise that, because I feel like Americans say that's a British accent, but there are so many different accents in Britain.
Well, no, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it.
I feel like, yeah, I'm not what's the word? I'm not embarrassed that I thought there was only one accent.
Oh no, definitely.
But I feel like I am more cultured.
100%. We know now. You kind of think, when you look at it now, you go, oh, there is so many different accents.
Yeah.
And
I can spot an American accent now completely.
Like where they're from and stuff like
well,
different.
Like north-south about
yeah,
that.
Just for 2, but we know there's other ones. But like you say, it's the exact same in American generalising a British accent, where it's actually northern. There's loads of places. Do you know what I mean? There's loads. Cockney,
so many
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Essex, which we hear completely
different.
Liverpool, Scouse, obviously.
So many down south. Bristol even got a different accent.
Yeah, so there's so many, and you guys have so many as well. Obviously, you guys have a lot more because it's 50 states. You'd be surprised how many the UK actually has. But you guys have
so small, yeah.
Now, this is according to Lawrence of 5 greatest. I feel like a southern accent's going to be on here, like maybe Louisiana or something like that, or Alabama.
Okay.
I feel like that's going to be on here.
New York, I'm thinking.
Maybe in New York, yeah.
Texas.
I don't know if Texas will be on here if Alabama's on. Do you know what I mean? I feel like
I think Texas is going to be on.
It's going to be interesting. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Lawrence link is in the description like always. And let's check out the 5 greatest American accents. What we got?
I mean, for me, it's quite simple. I agreed to do the video. I did not agree to wear a t-shirt of George Washington holding a hot dog. It's tacky. Just go get my yellow mustard jumper. People love to see me in that. Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond. And one of those memos pertains to accents.
Okay.
Specifically, the different accents that I've heard since moving to the United States. So you know how British people get up in arms when Americans think that Britain only has 2 accents, Cockney and YouTube sensation Lawrence Brown? Well, the longer that I live in America, and by now that's been 15 years, I've come to discover, much to my own chagrin, that us Brits have been making the same faux pas about the United States.
Definitely.
Oh, and if you're not subscribed to this channel, do that now.
That's very good.
That sounds like
For the longest time, I was under the misapprehension that the only accents that existed in this country were Harrison Ford, Robert De Niro, and Dolly Parton. But experience has taught me otherwise. Is that really the line? I've worked with people from all over the Midwest, and I've been to various parts of America, and in doing so, I've heard some wild inflections, delightful pronunciations, and also eaten a lot of food, but that's beside the point. And so today, I thought it would be a good idea to make a video that will get me cancelled by half of the country, in which I list my 5 favourite regional accents in the United States. Can we say 5 of my favourite regional accents?
So
if your accent...
Let us know your top 3. Maybe not 5, do top 3.
Yeah.
Favourite accents. Maybe it'll be your own accent, maybe it won't. Let us know in the comments.
...didn't make the list. It's either because there are just too many great accents in the US, or because it is genuinely rubbish.
Okay.
So as my cat digs his claws into my stomach, here are some of the best American accents that I've heard since moving to the United States.
I'm ready.
I should have prefaced this video by saying that I am not a speech coach. I am by no means an expert on delivering these accents, so do not expect me to replicate them here for your viewing pleasure.
I'm keen for him to give him a go.
You want me to try my best? Having lived in Chicago for the last 7 years, I've heard things, right? Mostly taxis, honking, but I've also heard hints of what is known as an upper Midwestern accent. And you might just be thinking, ooh, Lawrence, why didn't you just include the Chicago accent in that case? And the reason is that every time I hear the Chicago accent, people sound angry, especially when they're not. So I thought I'd tell you all about the upper Midwestern accent that you hear in places like Minnesota and Wisconsin. During my first job in America, there was a woman in my training class who was from Wisconsin. And after hearing her speak a few times, I realized that she didn't sound like the rest of these people from Indiana. And mostly that came from the way she pronounced her O's, right? It was something like, ooh, just not as high-pitched as that. And I can't really do it, because when I try to do it, I end up sounding Irish, which is true of most accents that I try. It was very endearing. I think she would say the word to go. To go.
Okay.
Again, sounds Irish. Essentially, they do it in one syllable, sort of a monophthong. When we non-Northern Midwesterners try to say the sound O, it's sort of O, whereas they do it as a ooh. like that. But one thing that I heard the other day
This is
is
gonna be
that
fun.
Northern Midwesterners do this thing where they sort of close up their mouth, no, that's, well, what is that? I don't know what accent that is. But they close up their mouth and that sort of helps to truncate some of those vowel sounds a little bit. As to why they sound Irish, I don't know, because I'd heard that much of the way that people speak in the Northern Midwest is influenced by Scandinavians. Maybe some Irish people came in and they all had a big party, and at the end of it, that was the result. But my absolute favourite thing about Northern Midwestern English is the way they pronounce the word bag. Right? It's not bag, it's more like beg. Beg, as in to beg for food.
Oh, wow.
And to me, and this might just be a weird quirk of who I am, I find that very attractive. I'm happily married, but if I was single and I went on one of those dating sites and a woman in her profile said, by the way, I'm really into English guys and I pronounce it beg, then we would definitely be going to a date. If she pronounced it beg, as some of them do, then we're getting married and I would subject myself to a lifetime of talking about bags.
Oh, wow. Have you got that bag? Is that right? Have you got that bag?
It doesn't do it for me.
Also, I spoke the first few words
In
English. I don't know the accent. We just say bag.
Bag.
Do you say
bag?
barg?
No, I said bag.
Do we have this thing with not like bat?
Yeah,
I
we
say
don't
bath,
change.
you say bath.
Yeah, but we don't change everything.
I say grass, you say grass. So I say
Yeah.
bag, you say barg.
No, I say bag.
You say bag, okay.
So maybe this wouldn't be such a great idea.
Bostonian.
Back
Okay.
in 2004, I got the
Makes
chance
sense,
to
Boston.
visit Boston for the first and so far only time. And while I was there, I was hanging out with friends and also friends of friends, and they just all happened to be mostly Harvard students because in those days I was extremely elitist. But during the day, while they were busy learning Latin or something like that, I'd go off into the town or city centre and I frequented an ice cream shop. And I was speaking to sort of the servers there, and I noticed their accent was so strong, right? They'd lived in the city clearly their entire life to that point, where they'd say something like, hey, buddy, want some nuclear power with that? That was JFK pronouncing nuclear power 60 years ago. But you still heard a Bostonian accent. But at the same time, I don't want to just draw on the stereotypical words that people use when they do a Boston accent, like park or car or yard. So instead, I've got far, dark, and hard. It's kind of hard to run far in the car.
Oh, that's quite good, that one.
I've got
That's
the wrong
quite good.
word, but you get the general picture. The beauty of that kind of old world Bostonian English is that it doesn't adhere to the same rhotic pattern that a lot of American English does, where you pronounce that final R. And so it almost has this feeling of being a marriage between British and American English.
Okay.
And I picked Bostonian for this just because I have first-hand experience of it. But just from watching television, it's evident that there's some absolutely delightful and delicious East Coast accents all over the shop.
Okay.
I was watching this one show recently, I think it was one of those Bake Off Challenge type shows, and one of the contestants was from Rhode Island. And he pronounced the word marinara like marinara. It was the most glorious thing I've ever heard.
They're also picking up people left, right, and centre here.
Pittsburgh.
A few years ago, I got to visit the state of Pennsylvania
what
for
is
the
that?
first time, and before doing so, I don't think I was fully aware what a linguistically rich state it is.
Okay.
On the far west part of the state is
Beautiful.
the city of Pittsburgh, and that was the first place in
Wow.
Pennsylvania that I arrived at since we were coming from Chicago. We were there just for the 4th of July, so we didn't have a lot of time in the city, but while we were there, I did try to listen out for a local accent. And here's what I figured out. In Pittsburgh, the alphabet only has 25 letters, and L isn't one of them. Because it's
What?
almost like when they say words that has an L in the middle of it, it ends up somewhere back here. For instance, take the name of another well-known Pennsylvania city, Philadelphia, which has 2 instances of L. I imagine that somebody from Pittsburgh probably pronounces it Philadelphia. That, I don't know what that was. That sounded like my dog. So
Surely
sorry
they
to
don't
the
sound
people
like
of
that.
Pittsburgh. Let me know in the comments below if you're from Pittsburgh and how you pronounce your L's or don't pronounce your L's.
Yeah,
I
let
just
us know.
noticed there was an absence of L's. And famously, Pittsburghian people,
What's that guy doing
Pittsburghers,
behind?
people from
He's
Pittsburgh
dancing.
pronounce the vowel sound in town like tan, like downtown, downtown. Downtown.
Okay.
It's almost Cockney. It's definitely different. It's very unique, I think, to Pittsburgh. I even tried to get one of the waitresses who served us at a restaurant to say it without asking, because I imagine that they get that a lot from tourists. And so I just sort of tried to tease it out of her by saying, where exactly are the 4th of July fireworks taking place tonight? And frustratingly, although rightly, her answer was, by the rivers. And so I never got to hear her say, downtown. Downtown. Which one is it? I need to watch a YouTube video on this.
Okay, Philly accent.
A few days after leaving Pittsburgh, we ended up in the previously mentioned Philadelphia. And to my ears, it was pretty wild how one state could have two completely different variations on the English language.
That's mad for one.
Because the first thing that I'd say upon hearing a Philly accent, of which locals say there are many Philly accents, it sort of sounded to my British ears like a New York accent, but I think there was some subtle differences in there. You know, on this channel, I've often talked about how when I'm in a restaurant in most places in the United States and I order a water, the server's eyes usually meet mine with a look of utter confusion before they realize that what I'm ordering is what they pronounce as water. Philadelphia does it a little bit differently to that. They pronounce it something like wooder.
Wow.
Wooder the woodpecker. No, it's Woody.
Sure,
I mean, there's almost a joke in it.
Because we do get, not bullied, but just a water. That is like such a, if someone's talking to a British person.
But I don't even say like that.
I say water, but
Water.
maybe that does sound like, you say it properly.
Water.
Water.
That's just how it's spelled.
Yes, I'll have a glass of water.
Well, it's not water. It's how it's spelled.
Water, you want a bit of water?
But we don't. No one in the UK says that.
I've heard people say water before.
Yeah, but I think they're taking the mic.
Yeah, probably. But I say water, you say
Water,
and they say water. See, that's worse. Not that it's worse, no one cares at the end of the day. As long as you're happy, who cares? But you know what I mean? In terms of pronouncing it correctly, that's the furthest away, innit? Mm-hmm. There's what you think.
Look at you.
That a Philadelphian, a British person, and other American people walk into a bar and order water. And in that same joke, you might have a person from each party who asks, in my case, from Britain, have you eaten yet? Or as some people might say in Indiana, where I used to live, have you ate? In Philadelphia, it's more like, gee. It almost sounds like they're suppressing a hiccup. And also among Philadelphians, correct me if I'm wrong, the vowel sound in the word on is more like on. So describe YouTube sensation Lawrence Brown. Oh, that guy, he walks on water. Walks on water.
Good.
I don't actually.
He just lived there for 15 years.
That people have developed mostly because of propaganda and lies and a healthy grain of truth.
There we go, a southern accent.
And finally, West Virginia. And if you're new to this channel, you're probably thinking, what does a city dweller know about life in the mountains? Well, I am a bona fide mountain man, I'll have you know. I mean, this is still my house in Illinois, but what I said is true. Because in addition to all of the world-renowned hiking that I am renowned for throughout the world, I'm married to an American who has familial ties to West Virginia. And that means that we've spent countless Labor Day weekends up in the mountains with said family members. And it's great because one tradition that we have is to play bluegrass music. And it was so contagious that at one point even I got up and played guitar and even sang. The footage has since been confiscated by the CIA, so you won't get to see that.
Hello.
We need a petition to get that footage.
Yeah, we do.
Everyone spam Lawrence to get that footage.
But when we're not singing and when I'm not stuffing my face full of chicken dippers, we are in conversation. I say we, I can't get a word in edgeways. But for the purposes of my channel, that's good because it means that I just get to listen to them speak. And the first thing I noticed, they have this very soft, gentle way of talking, which is not what I'd expect of people living in the mountains. You know, you might have to fend off bears. I suppose that's a lovely way of putting them to sleep. But when you look at a map, I imagine that West Virginia isn't too far away from the point at which Northern American English starts becoming Southern American English. And I think because of that, to my ears, that Southern West Virginia accent isn't quite as pronounced as something in, say, Alabama. But they do still say things like, fine. At least my wife's cousin Chad did when I asked him how his family life.
Friend Gina.
Oh yeah.
I think it's from Virginia.
Oh, whoa, not
West Virginia. No, she's definitely from Virginia.
Which one's from Tennessee? Sorry, that sounded so rude. I didn't mean it that bad, but like
the man that we would, the person.
I can't remember. That's why I've got Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Gina's from Virginia, not West Virginia, but that sounds
of course,
like Gina.
Gina's from Tennessee. Yes,
Yeah.
Yes. You guys, we just had a
Only
conversation.
Gina will get that.
Gina will know exactly why I said Tennessee. Recent events. Right, let's go.
Well, you don't want to find yourself out there in the woods alone
think it's
at night,
Gina?
Lawrence, because
Yeah,
you could run into some of them black bears over yonder, right? They like to say that they like the phrase over yonder, which is good because it helps to keep Shakespeare alive in the 21st century. Oh, and I'm pretty certain that I heard this for the first time in West Virginia, although subsequently heard it in other states like Indiana and Ohio, pronouncing Washington as Washington, and I've just now realised that's why he made me wear the t-shirt.
Oh,
he's not George Washington carrying a hot dog. He's George Washington carrying a hot dog. That was Forrest Gump.
Does sound Forrest.
I'm really bad at this. And so those right there were 5 of my favourite American accents.
Cool.
And
That was good. I like that.
Yeah, but that's what I feel like. The more south you get, the slower the accent gets.
Yeah, they take time.
Take time with the words, prolong the words and stuff like that. That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let us know your favourite accents in the comments below. We will heard another, potentially 4 accents when we go to America. I don't know if cities are going to have different accents where we go and stuff like that. So we're going to let you know what our favourite one is when we get back.
Yeah.
Smash that button, guys. Smash the subscribe button. What should we do?
Have a fantastic day.
And we'll see you legends in the next one. Peace.